Welcome everybody to Grace Company Live, our first live that we've done. Well, we've done these, I think, in years past, but this is our first one. So
for 2025,
we do a lot with our partners, which is awesome. We're very excited to be with you today. My name is Mark Martin here at Grace Company, and I've been here a little over, going on my 14th year, so it's been a long time.
Long time. I'm Janna Mathews. I've been here 4.5 years almost.
You're just a baby.
I'm just a baby of the Grace world, but learning so much as we go along. We are excited to have you with us today. We want to hear where you're watching from. So please put in the comments where we're watching from. Oh, we've got some popping up right now. So it's so great to have you with us for two reasons. One, we just love talking with you and communicating with you because we don't get to come to every state and every show to hang out. And two, we want you here so that you can learn and ask us questions. So if there's things that you've always wanted to know about the Little Rebel,
put them in the comments.
Unique 16X, the X Elite, this is your chance. We're sitting down, which is not normally how we're sitting. We're going to try not to swing around a lot all the time because it's really easy to be like, oh, it's so much fun. But we want to make sure that we are having more of a conversation. So any questions that you have, please put them in the chat at any time. And our team in the back will help us get those answered.
And we'll see them. We see them on the screen too. So we'll if we see them before they get to them in our back here, we'll bring them up. But it is so nice to see everybody where they're watching from. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day, especially if you're in a place that's really sunny right now. It's getting those types of months. We're getting the summer months. So we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch us here at Grace Company. We have a wonderful event ahead of us today. We're going to talk about 3 awesome machines that have done well, not only in 2025, but since we brought them out to the market. And so we want to go over those machines, and that's going to be a perfect time for you to bring in any kind of questions you have, any things that you've been thinking about regarding these 3 machines. But I'm really excited to talk about these machines.
Me too. And as a reminder for all those who registered for the event on our Grace platform, we are giving away a free motion starter kit. Now, don't worry if you have the Uniques or if you have the Little Rebel, both of those, or a domestic, you can use that free motion starter kit. It comes with a practice panel, batting and backing, thread, bobbins, marking tools, an instruction sheet. So it's all you need to get started if you're thinking, wow, it's Mother's Day and I want to get someone a gift. This is a great time to buy the free motion starter kit if you don't win. So it's a wonderful product to help us start with quilting.
Absolutely. Janna, as we look at the 3 machines we're going to be talking about, Grace Company, if you've known about Grace Company over the years, you've seen our product, you've seen our price points, you've seen what we've done in the industry, and it's no exception to the 3 machines that we have. And we came out with these machines to help you live your dream. I just got done doing a show in Paducah with our wonderful dealer up there, Ken Sewing Center. And it's just awesome to hear people's dreams and then also hear some of the obstacles that stop them from living their dream. And these 3 machines, as we talk about, you're going to find that your dream can come true. This is not going to be expensive. We want you to upgrade. We want you to live your passion. And more importantly, we've done this because it's a hobby. Grace Company have valued the hobbyists over the years. And as you hear these 3 machines and all the features, it really helps you as a quilter understand that you can do this. I will do this. This is affordable. I can upgrade. I can do this. When I was in Paducah, there's a lot of your mind, I have to say, has a lot of power.
Yeah, it's true.
It talks you out of a lot of things. It tells you you're not good at stuff. And so I was talking to some of these customers and they were like, oh, I can never do that. I'm like, why? Or I can't do that. Or I didn't think I could do this. Or, oh, this exists? I had no idea. So if you're thinking about owning a long arm, if you're thinking about upgrading, if you've been on the fence, please listen in because we have 3 wonderful machines that will help you over that hump to get you into your dream even more.
Well, and you were saying about upgrading. If you bought a cutie or even a mini quilter and you've been using your domestic and you're thinking, I need more space, right? Like you keep hitting that end of the section. You got to have these quilting machines available, right? That's why we came out with them. It's not just that you've got You just start there and that's where you end. You can grow with all these things. And so when someone was asking me, they said, oh, you guys are doing the new sales event today. What are you talking about? And I said, we're talking about the machines that really change people's lives because they're at the beginning, right? And you can go from the Little Rebel or just use it as piecing. You can upgrade to these 16s. If you have one of our old 15Rs or Pros, the 16s are a great step up. And you think, oh, 1 inch, is that really such a difference? It really is. And the screen on the 16X Elite, we're going to go over all of this, but it's just going to be fantastic.
It is. You know, that's why what you just said about having the older frames, it's rare to have a machine to fit some of our frames that we've had on the market for 20 plus years. And if you own one of those wooden frames, you have options to get a better machine, what you have on there. Not saying your machine that you have isn't that good. You may have an older Unique machine that we came out with several years ago, but newer technology, speed, these machines behind us, we made to last, and they've been wonderful in people's homes.
Well, and I just want to put out there as well. So each of these frames with these machines can be automated. So we get that question a lot. Can I automate the Little Rebel or the 16X on the Cutie? Yes. So as much as you're thinking, oh, I'm just starting small and I don't have a lot of space, automation, that's a dream in the future, way in the future. But no, you can have that automation dream right now, even with these smaller machines on the smaller frame. So don't limit yourself. We're not limiting you with our products so that you can continue to do all the fun stuff.
Yep. Okay, I think we get started. We have a fun show ahead of us, and we're going to start with our first machine. This machine has really taken the industry, quilters' dream. I mean, we talk about dreams. We talk about where they're at with their quilting journey, and the Little Rebel has taken a lot of our quilters to the next level that they didn't think they can. And it helped a lot of quilters start their journey. You know, the Little Rebel is if you're looking at an entry, perfect quilting machine, stitch regulation, all the things that you're wanting in a quilting machine. Let's talk about Little Rebel because that's what it has to offer.
So let's talk first about the fact that it is 1,600 stitches per minute. That is really fast for a straight stitch machine, right? And looking at it, because the harp is so large, it's that 8.5-inch harp, it makes it look like it's tiny instead of big. But you've got 13 inches of quilt space. And so you can see it's behind me here, all this space available, right? 13 inches from the needle to the back, and then 8.5. There was a really funny TikTok that came out right when we were starting. Our sales associate, Anthony, was showing how big this area was, and he stuck his head through here. It makes us laugh every time it comes up on TikTok because it's hilarious, and how big, it just really shows how big the Little Rebel is. Okay, so Mark, one of the things I love about the Little Rebel is this pad printing that you can see on here, exactly how to stitch. Now, most of our machines have those, the 19, the 16s, but right, you come from here where your thread mast is, your thread post, your tensions, down to the little needle, right? Right now we have it set up for quilting. But you can also straight stitch with, right? We call it our straight stitch machine. And we've got our little presser foot here. Let me pop that on there. We've got all the different, but I think we've got an image up that we can show a little bit easier so people aren't just looking at my hand of all the different presser feet that come with it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you got a zipper foot, a quilting foot with an edge, and then just the regular presser foot. So when you're using the machine with the presser feet, of course, you're going to have it available with the feed dogs to help grab that fabric. But when you're quilting, right, that's the nice thing between the Little Rebel is that you can go back and forth. So there's a needle plate that you use to cover the feed dogs. And you can see it's on here right now because I have that hopping foot there. And so if I lift it up, you can see those feed dogs available. There's a little sensor, a little button right here on the end, and then it goes into that sensor to turn on your quilting mode, which we'll talk about in just a moment. You can also see this optical encoder right here. So the other machines have rolling encoders. And so as they roll back and forth, they tell the machine, go slower, go faster, right? With the optical encoder, it's sensing with lasers how fast you're moving your fabric. So you have to be careful and not, if you're push quilting, not to like make a little holder in your fabric and then there's like no way to see that. Yeah, no pockets. Yeah.
What you were talking about with the pad printing, the last couple of shows I've been at, and this is true for all of our machines, is the look and feel that the transition from the domestic machine. So threading the machine, as you can see, is really easy. And we wanted that transition to be easy for you as well. So as we're talking about this, think about some of the stuff that makes quilting easy for you. Stitch regulation that Janna mentioned with that optical sensor at the bottom there, that gives you the stitch regulation. There's going to be a checklist that you're going to want as a quilter that says, well, if I have this, this, and this, it's going to make my job a whole lot easier and fun. And we want to make that fun every day in your quilting. And so that harp that you talked about makes quilting. Yeah. So if you have a lot of fabric, you have a lot of space in the throat of the machine to make that happen. But the Little Rebel is an easy transition from your 9-inch machine or 10-inch machine to this nice 13-inch machine. There isn't a lot to learn. What I love about this machine is literally out of the box is plug and play.
It is so true. Like, I love setting this one up at shows, right? Because I take it out of the box, put the little thread mast on there, thread it up, and I'm going, right? And the other thing about the harp that I love so much is whether you're push quilting or putting on a frame, you have that space for that excess fabric, so you're not worrying about, oh, where do I put this? How do I hold it so that I'm just trying to get into the middle of my quilt, rather than when you're on a frame, you have that extra space for it as it's rolling. You're not going to worry about, oh no, I've got to turn my quilt around on my frame just so I can quilt to the end of it. There was a question, someone was asking about how much the machines weigh, and the Little Rebel weighs 28 pounds out of the box. So in the box is a little heavier because you've got all the extra things in there, but 28 pounds, that's lighter than most other domestic machines. I know when I'm helping dealers at shows and they've put one on the mini quilter, the Cutie, and we're going to take it off for a moment, I'm like, oh, this is so much heavier than the Little Rebel, but it's so much smaller, right? Like the compactness of it is different. So yes, 28 pounds, you don't have to worry about it. It also has a handle to help you lift it, which I love, right? I can hold it here and I can hold it here both ways to help lift that up out of the frame if I'm doing it, or to get it out of the way for stuff. Yep.
So a couple of things that we already talked about. So this machine, there's not a lot to it. If you are looking at upgrading your machine or just starting, if you're just starting into quilting, and there's a lot of you out there, if you're just starting, the Little Rebel is a perfect way to start. And you'll see here in a minute, we're going to talk about you have a transition, or you can move to the machines behind me, the 16 series. But what better way to start than Little Rebel?
Well, and just to clarify, I know we have all of these on a table. The Little Rebel can't sit on a table and sew, but the Unique 16X and X Elite, you need a frame.
Yes.
So I don't want anybody to be like, I saw you put it on a table and it's not working for me to quilt.
Why isn't it not
doesn't
working?
Move around. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So the Little Rebel, we talked about, right? Super fast for a straight stitch sewing machine, 1,500 or 1,600 stitches per minute.
1,600 stitches per minute.
Stitch regulation, thread, the pad print for all your threading. The other thing we didn't talk about this is it has an M-class bobbin. So the larger bobbins that come in the larger quilting machines, it has the M-class bobbin with the built-in bobbin winder. And that's another thing.
And the light right there.
And the light. There's a lot of features
love
about
that
this
light.
machine.
I mean, one, it's really easy. I know I've used some other domestic machines and you've got to open it up and reach really far down inside to get in there, or you're on a frame and so you've got to take the fabric off to get to that. Or it's a drop down, it's just not as nice. And you're having to change it more often because of the smaller bobbins. The M-class is so much easier. Plus it has a bobbin winder. So not only can you do M-class and have all that done, but you can wind all the bobbins you need ahead of time so that as you're switching them out, you're not having to wind in between. But it's a different motor than the front. So you could wind while you're stitching one way, you could wind it on the other side too. I
just want to give a shout out as they're coming in. Barry met me in Paducah. So it's good to meet you as well, Barry, in Paducah. That was a fantastic show. And so, okay. So thanks, Barry. I just want to say hi to you as well. It's nice to meet you. All right, the Little Rebel. We talked about the hopping feet that it comes with, the M-class bobbin, the lights, not only the throat lights, but the bobbin light.
Oh yeah, the throat light. We
the
need to
throat
talk
light.
about that.
Yep, throat lights are
see
underneath there,
right here.
which helps take away the shadows as you're quilting, whether you sit down or on a frame. Speed control buttons. So on your, when you put it on the frame, you have a start stop. This is how easy it is as you plug it in. Once you put the start stop, it plugs into your foot pedal port. And once you do that and you hit the start stop, I think you have one over there. Yeah.
So you can push the start and stop on the actual machine,
on a frame. It'd be easier.
Or it also comes with this start and stop button, and also your needle up and needle down, so that you could reach forward and do it, holding onto the handles and push it. But this way, you're just right there, right by your fingers. Whether you're left-handed or right-handed, you can put it on either side, and has a really long cord, so it goes all the way around to the back of the machine and holding onto the handles. Yep. And that comes free.
It comes free, absolutely. So if you're looking for a dedicated quilting machine, we all met majority of quilters who use their own domestic as their quilting machine. Now is the time to really consider getting a dedicated quilting machine. It will make your quilting journey so much easier when you have machines specifically for the projects you're working on. If you have a domestic machine that you use for all your piecing, all your sewing, continue to use that machine for that purpose. Instead of taking machine on and off, we have a lot of wonderful frames that you can do that with. You put your machine on and take it off, machine on and take it off. It's really a great time now to look at getting a dedicated quilting machine. And as we mentioned with the Little Rebel, with all the features that you get, the stitch regulation, the M-class bobbin, the larger throat, maintenance is one that a lot of customers really love about our machines, is how easy it is to maintain these machines. And we did that to help you enjoy quilting. We don't want you to worry about always maintaining it and taking it in.
Yeah, taking it in and then it's away from you and you never know when it's coming back.
Yeah.
So I want to show you how easy it is to maintain. One, this table comes with it. It's an 18 by 24 inch table. Great for, helping your sewing projects or your quilting projects kind of have another place to lay and keep it flat as you're sewing. But this just lifts up right here. There's these hinges. And so reaching in and getting your bobbin is really easy. Taking your bobbin out and just brushing some oil on that bobbin hook assembly and then turning it with the wheel is really important.
Yep. Another question came in, and we'll get to this as we talk about the other machines, but yes, all of our machines have M-class bobbins.
Yes, all of them. So here you can see the front just opens up so I can get to that needle bar really easily, and my thread is trying to love my needle bar. So just a drop of oil on a brush, just a paintbrush, and you're gonna paint the little needle bar there. And then when you're done with that, you can hit come and close it so that it's all free and clear. Now, as a reminder, as with any sewing machine, you don't want to use canned air to clean things out. In the toolbox that comes with a Little Rebel, you have a little lint brush to help clear all those lint things out, because even the non-lintiest of thread will still leave some lint, and dust can get in there and attract to the stuff. So you just want to take time. And again, all this information is in our instruction manuals. Our tech writers do a fabulous job writing instructions. If you lose it, it's on our website, so you can always go back and pay attention to that.
Yep.
I want to talk about these buttons right here. So these buttons are the length of the stitch, right? The longest to the smallest. Even though there's only 5 lights, there's actually 10 different settings. So you can see as I'm going farther.
And you hear that noise too.
I don't know if you can hear the little squeak noise, but we're getting longer stitches all the way up to smaller stitches. So even though there's 5 lights, there's 10 different modes. And then with your speed, there's 3 lights and 6 modes. So the same thing, if I turn off my quilting, push quilting, which is you being the speed. When you're push quilting, I've had people come up and they talk to me and they're saying, oh, wow, this machine is so fast. I'm like, no, that's you. You're the one making it fast. So when you're in quilting mode, you're the speed. And then when you turn off quilting mode, you can set the speed right here, which is great for someone who's just learning how to sew. Maybe they're not quite comfortable with that foot pedal, right? You can set the speed here. You can go all the way to the top or set it somewhere in the middle so that as they're pushing the foot pedal, they're not going to go crazy and then the machine runs away with them.
Yep. So a couple of questions that came in. So one of the questions was using invisible thread. I'm not sure who said it. But yes, you can use invisible thread with the machine, so that's totally fine. What's nice with the machines, speaking of thread, is normally 50 weight, 40 weight is the common size. You can go thinner, you can go thicker. That's why we have tension knobs on the machine. So whatever thickness that you want to do on your machine, you can just simply change the knot or change the tightness of the thread, so it allows you to use the thicker ones or thinner ones.
And depending on what thread you need is what kind of needles. So you get 4 different packets of needles with the Little Rebel, a 12, a 14, 16, and 18. Now, in your instruction manual, it will tell you what size to use with what thread. That's not about what kind of material you're sewing on. It's about what thread, so that it can help pull up and get it going.
Yep.
Our other question is, I do have a cutie frame used on my domestic. It does limit my quilting area, especially with the ruler plate. I'm saving for a larger frame. Question, what frame would you recommend for a 16X?
Well, since you have the cutie frame, if you're doing the cutie frame, it's because you're probably space restricted in your home. So we do have a Q-zone hoop, which extends out. With the ruler base, okay, let me go back to the cutie frame. With the ruler base, you can extend that front arm out further so you have more room for it. Because right now, your ruler base, yeah. So if you want to keep the cutie, you can just extend what I call the belly bar, or the bar that you rest up against, the first bar right by you. You can move that out further so that ruler base doesn't hit that, so you don't lose the space. So you can still keep the cutie if you want to do that. However, what frame would work best with that? Keep it in the hoop line. We have our Q-zone hoop, which is the same kind of, there it is, the Q-zone hoop. It has legs, and it is perfect for the 16. And that also goes up to a 19-inch throw. Same thing, if you have a ruler base on, you'd want to move that front bar out. And then we have our Evolution hoop, which is our top of the line hoop frame. And same thing with this one, you'd want to move that front bar out. So essentially, who asked that question? Was it Brenda?
Mary Grace.
Mary Grace. So Mary, essentially, whatever hoop frame you have, if you're using a ruler base, just move that front bar further out so that that ruler base doesn't hit it. Hopefully that answers your question. That's a good question. But the Little Rebel, Janna, everything that we talked about, it is simple. There's not much other than what we talked about, why this machine has been sought after. Everybody is looking to have a larger throat, stitch regulation, easy to use, easy to maintain. And of course, the budget is one that comes in. And so this machine is very affordable, especially this month as we have it on sale.
On the special, yeah. Another question was, do all of them come with the starter needle package kit? And yes, so all the machines come with 3 packages of needles, the 14, 16, and 18. The Little Rebel gets that 4th one, size 12, because that's just a different size of thread that you wouldn't normally use with quilting, but you could use with sewing. And so that's one of the things the Little Rebel can do too. It can do, because of the power, it can sew different types of fabrics that you might not think of normally. When you're quilting, most quilting is cotton, and you might do a couple of different things. But with a Little Rebel, you can do leather, you can do canvas, you can do denim. Yep, there's the pictures right there. And do a wonderful job, because it's so powerful going through those and doing, a little bit thicker stuff than you could maybe with quilting all the time.
Yep. Okay, last thing before we move on to the other machines, Mary, I just want to throw out Mary Grace again, says she bought a 16X with that same purchase without even touching the machine, and she absolutely loves it. So thank you, Mary, for saying that. A lot of quilters actually buy these machines without putting their hands on it, and they end up loving it. They're easy to run.
Yes, the original cutie does move forward. You can read the instructions. It should explain that, or you can give us a call or chat with us online. Yep. We're happy to help explain that or direct you into which pages are specific about that.
Yep. Okay, we'll move on to the 16 series. So if there's any other questions with the Little Rebel, still put them in there. We'll still get to them. So if you're still, or if you're catching this late and you're watching it, we talked about the Little Rebel. Put in your questions. We'll still get to them. Now the 16 series. These 2 machines have really revolutionized the quilting as well, because of what it brings, how easy it is to use, and how many frames you have options for these machines, all the way from the cutie all the way up to our Evolution Elite frame. Really every frame works with them.
I mean, you could try and put the Little Rebel on a lot of other frames, but you're going to have limitations because of the bars and different things. So with the 16, it's just going to be so much more helpful. So right away, you notice that it has the handles, right? These handles are adjustable. They've got the clamps here. You can adjust them not only left and right, forward and back, up and down. I've seen people quilt all different kinds of directions, right? Some people are definitely straight up and down. Others are more sideways. And some people are are like, kind of
Yeah.
a weird, different kind of thing. But yeah, totally adjustable to what your height is and comfort for when you're quilting on a frame, because you don't want to feel like I have no control, right? You want to have it nicely rested as you're holding.
Other reasons why we have adjustable handles is from micro stippling. When you want to micro stipple, you want to get close to your work. And by doing so, other handlebars you can have up by your head as you lean forward. So this one with your arms with these down, as you bring them down this way, you can now rest your fingers this way so you can get closer. So the adjustability on these handlebars are for your purpose of quilting and comfort, like Janna said. So if you're micro stippling, then this is the way to go, because you can move those in there. Also with the handlebars, there's buttons on there that increase and decrease the machine speed. So on the left side, you can increase and decrease the speed. And on your right side, you have your start, stop, and needle up, needle down. Very simple. It's not the best part of the machine. Those are just functions of the buttons that drive the machine. But they're on there to help your experience.
And as much as people are like, do you have a way to switch these left-handed? We don't, but you're not using a lot of your left or right hand. It's just an on-off button with your thumb.
Yeah, just to start it.
So don't feel like, I really just wanted a left-handed version. It's everything on the handles also can be done on the touchscreen. It's a 2.4-inch color touchscreen. So you can see here. So all those functions that are here are also on the screen. You can see the needle jog, the minimum speed. One thing different on these quilting machines versus, went the wrong direction. Going through is the different stitch modes. You can see there was cruise and based and manual and precise. All of those are specific to the Quilting machines, not in the Little Rebel, right? This is a quilting machine we're talking about. And so they have ability to do stitch regulation on the precise. That means when I start, it starts quilting. When I stop, it stops quilting. Very precise, right? Cruise is just like your car. Once you start it, it's going to keep quilting whether you're moving the machine or not. So you got to be careful not to leave a spot all by itself going forever. But it's great for filling in sections, stitching the ditch, so anything that you don't want the machine to start and stop and have like a rough edge.
Yeah. To add on that, cruise is also regulated. So precise and cruise on these two machines that we'll talk about, they're both regulated. So Janna mentioned precise, it's regulated when you're moving it around, and if you stop, it's going to stop. We do have videos as well showing just that. So go back and you can watch the videos on these machines being ran on a frame. They're really, really nice to watch. But cruise
projects, different things. We wanted to talk about the meat of it. We didn't want to just take time just so it.
That's right.
Because we get lost in it.
Right, we do get lost in it. So cruise is also regulated. So even though it's moving up and down, it's doing that. So when you move the machine slow, Janna mentioned you want to fill in spots. That's when you want to have that constant needle moving around. We've all seen quilters or seen quilts where they're doing micro stippling or they're filling in these little areas and it's so dense. Well, they're probably doing it with the machine that has a cruise function, because when you're moving the machine really slow, you want to have that needle at a constant speed that is smooth. It doesn't hesitate. Precise, it hesitates, because you're moving the machine slow. The machine actually doesn't, it doesn't know if you're stopping or going. So the needle is kind of hesitant as you're moving the machine really slow. So cruise will be the best option for you if you're looking to fill in and make some work really dense. Put it on cruise, and you can go from 5% of that cruise speed all the way up to 25%, which is really, really nice.
See right there where we've got it turned on. Right there, it's got the, had it turned on. Let me go to cruise. There we go. So you can see 25%, and I can just easily push this button and go up to the.
It goes 25, so it goes 25 is the highest, so you go down.
Wrong button. There we go. They were going down. Same thing here. I can bring up my stitch per inch. I can either use the button that I'm touching right now, or I can come here and touch the screen available. At the bottom here, the 16X has an option to do edge control. This, when we first came out with it, I was so happy, because there's many times I just get into quilting and then before I know it, I've hit the clips in the back or in the front or something, This way I'm warned by the machine, hey, you're getting close to your edge, either an inch or half inch.
You said that
it starts beeping,
So I love that. As a new quilter, Janna mentioned, as a new quilter, you're focused on your quilting. So when you're new to quilting, you're going to run into this that we've all run into, where your carriage, there's what we call a quiltable area. And on your frame, even though your frame is whatever size, you have a quilt area. And the quilt area is because when your carriage goes to the side of the frame, your needle is about 8 to 10 inches away from the edge. And so you have about 8 to 10 inches of fabric that you think you can still go over to quilt. Both sides and up front. When you're quilting up front, you're so focused on your stitching. So as you're stitching as a new quilter, you're not focused on anything other than you're looking at your needle. So if you're doing circles, if you're doing something and you get to the edge, well, your circle now is cut off.
Just getting the rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm just quilting.
And it cuts off. So we built in the edge warning to warn you on those edges. So a great feature that no other machine has, and it has saved a lot of people's bacon in a way because of that. We don't like to pick or unpick. We don't want to unpick all the time. So the Quilting machines series from the 16 on up have those features built into it on the edge warning. So it's a little step up from the Little Rebel. Again, the Little Rebel is great starter for quilting. Then you're stepping up on your journey and you're getting a little bigger machine. So the edge warning is nice as a new beginner. The throat space though, 16 inches of throat space with throat lights as well.
And 1,700 stitches per minute. So 100 more than the Little Rebel. Just your ability to quilt that much more, that much faster. It's funny, as I talk to quilters when they're first starting out, they often say 1,700, that is so fast. I'll never quilt that fast. And then you have quilters who are ready to quilt much faster, right? That's where we get to the 16X Elite. It's a little bit bigger and faster, but just starting out, right? You're just that easy speed. You're doing your free motion. But also you can do the automation. Again, available with any of the current frames that we have, the Little Rebel 16X and 16X Elite, that you can take advantage.
Yep.
I love how versatile the 16X is, right? It doesn't look out of place on the Cutie. Now, it doesn't work on the mini quilter. The mini quilter can only go up to 13 inches of throat space. So the Little Rebel fits on there, but not the quilting machines.
Right.
So the Cutie, you can put the 16X on the Cutie. It looks great. You put it on the Q-Zone hoop. It looks great. You put it on the Queen, it looks great. You put it on any of the machines, Evolution, it looks great, and it runs well, and you have so much ease of quilting without having to worry about all those other issues of, oh, am I going to have enough throat space? You'll be able to do a nice design on your quilt.
Yep. I like this question. This is a great question because she's asking, how large of a square can you do with a 16? I got a question because it's a common thing to be thinking about as you're quilting, you know, what patterns, and that's a good question to be thinking about, because if you're looking at specific size of patterns, well, maybe the 16 isn't right for you, and we do have other larger machines that may be right for you. But for the 16, that question really depends on what frame you have. So that question for a rolling frame depends on, again, what size. It's amazing, all these little factors that depends on that one simple question, because 16 inches of throw space can yield out anywhere from a pattern of staying around 13 inches or 14 with a hoop frame, or with the rolling frame. If you're doing a larger quilt and on that back rail that builds up the fabric, if you're doing a large quilt, your rail is building up fabric. And so I would say on average, and this is on average I've seen over the years of people tell me they do large quilts, with the 16 inch, if you're doing a king size quilt, you'll probably be left with about 12 inches, maybe 11.5 to 12 inches of throat space the entire length of your quilt. So if you're doing a 12-inch pattern from start to finish, you can do that with the 16. If you're doing a 14-inch pattern, which is not a common size, you won't be able to do that with the 14 on a rolling frame. But again, on the hoop frame, you can do a 14-inch pattern on a hoop frame because there's no roll that's rolling up and taking your throat space. It is a soft roll, and it's not around a rail. So really, that's a good question, but it does depend on the size of project you're doing on, and if you have a rolling frame or a hoop frame. But I love that question. I love the interaction. Keep interacting with us with these questions. It's really nice.
Yeah, I want to show you, we talked about easy maintenance on the Little Rebel. I want to show you how easy it is, again, to reach in and get that needle bar and to take that brush with the oil on there, brush it on, and then close it up easily without having issues. And then again, the M-class bobbin, I'm just going to reach underneath here, pull out my bobbin case, put it back in. It's just really easy to get it in there, not having to try and undo the whole quilt to try, I can just reach underneath, get it. And again, the bobbin lights underneath here and in the throat lights.
They're fantastic.
So nice.
It's so nice.
And the bobbin winder.
Yep.
It also has a bobbin winder on the 16X in the back, different motor than the front. So you don't have to unthread all your thread, and then go back and rethread it all up again.
Yeah.
You can have this 2 spools and go straight from there.
Yep. And what we mean by the different motor is you don't need the machine running, right? You don't need it turned on, meaning you don't need the needle moving in order to wind the bobbin. You do need your machine on though, because that's what gives power to those functions of the machine. But you can wind bobbins while you're quilting. You can wind bobbins before you start quilting. It is a separate motor than the start-stop of the needle, which I love. And of course, it is the M-class bobbin, which is a larger bobbin. So the 16X, Janna, it has the built-in bobbin winder, M-class bobbin. This one stitches at 1700, so it stitches faster, as you mentioned. It has the color touchscreen, the OLED touchscreen with the edge warning.
Dark blue interior. Now, if your favorite color is blue, this is a great one to have. It's got this fun color as you're going through. I like that color.
Just like the Little Rebel, this had pad prints to thread your machine on the side here. So making it easy for you as quilting. As you can tell from what we're talking about, we want you to transition from your domestic machine to a long arm. And we want you to do it comfortably. We want you to do it that allows you to be happy in your quilting journey without the manual open all the time or calling us all the time. These machines are easy to use. And out of the box with this one, you do need to add a little more than Little Rebel, but it's nothing major. And we have really good instructions to help you follow along to bring this machine ready to start quilting on your frame. I just love this machine because of how simple it is. There's not a lot that needs to happen with it. And that's for a reason to help you be a lot more comfortable in your journey.
It's true. And I just was at Portland with the dealer up there at the quilt show that we were at. And this was the first time they had seen this machine being opened up. And they were like, what? This is so easy to take it out of the box. There's handles to help lift the machine out, to put it in a spot so you can get the wheelbases. There's instructions that, like get this spot, and like each box has sections and information on it. So it's not just, well, what are these screws for? It says hardware for thread stand or hardware for wheelbase, that you're easily understanding each of the boxes and where they're going. And they were like, all machines should be like this. I was like, yes, they should. But we've got it. So we've got it all set. So don't feel like, oh, I've got to figure out how to set it all up. It's made to be simple when you're setting it up, not easy. And we don't use easy as a term because we don't want people to be disappointed when it doesn't take 5 minutes. It's a process, but it is simple to follow all those things and get it set up. And you can do it all by yourself, really.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, we're moving on to the 16X Elite. If there's any questions with the 16X or the Little Rebel, please put them in the comments and we will address them as we see them come up on the screen or if we see them in general. Okay, the last of the 16 line is the Elite series. This machine is gray instead of blue, as you can see there. And one thing that really sticks out that probably all of you see right now is that larger screen. That larger screen has a lot of wonderful features to this screen. One is the manual that comes like built in.
You mean when I put my instruction manual in a safe place?
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about that anymore?
That's exactly what I mean. So as we can see right here on the screen, this comes with preparing to quilt, quilting, maintenance, troubleshooting, and using the touchscreen. And what I love about having this on here is we all seen our manuals walk away or we put them in a drawer that we can't find. So now if we're wanting to know maintenance, we can come in here to maintenance and it will walk us through what we need to do to oil the machine and clean the machine. So if we go to cleaning guide, it tells you what to do to clean from the tension knob all the way to the bobbin hook, okay? And then we keep going, it talks about the hook assembly as well. So having this in there, and there's more to that cleaning. So it talks about
those
the
pictures too, right? It's not just instructions, it's the little image of where you're needing to be.
Yep. So in here, let me go back, keep going back here. Okay, troubleshooting, as we open that, it talks about the stitches. I love this because stitching is something as new beginners, or even if you've been quilting a while, tension, misthreading.
That never happens to anybody.
Yeah, never. So we have a built-in here, just in case if you're one of the single ones that have these problems, you can figure out how to do troubleshooting along stitches and general troubleshooting, which goes in and it talks about what to look for on long stitch and skip stitch. So this walks you through, which I love. So you have the getting to know and help manuals built into the screen, because your manager's going to walk away. So the front of the screen,
or just be covered up with fabric.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, in all seriousness, it doesn't walk away, but it gets covered up with fabric and other things. So
yes.
Yeah.
So the other thing about this, just like the 16X, we have the different stitch modes. So here they are. So I will show you. So precise, cruise, manual, and base, much like the 16X, pretty similar with the 16X Elite. Whereas precise is regulated, cruise has that regulation, plus it will consistently have that needle up, needle down, moving at a 5% or 25%, and then of course manual and base is in there.
People ask us all the time, Mark, why do you still have the manual on there? You know, why do you even keep it? Why is that a thing?
Well, people still like to use without the regulation.
Because you can go faster.
Yeah, you can go faster. There's a lot of benefits of just running it in manual. Now with manual, you do have to keep up with the machine speed and keep those stitches consistently the same length on your own. A lot of quilters who like to go fast, that can maintain those stitches the same length, do a really good job. When you're in regulation mode, the speed, you can kind of hear the engine, so to say, or the
encoders,
all that stuff.
part,
like you can hear it speed up and go down, speed up and go down. But with manual, it is all one speed. So if you're going fast, then that's what you want to do. So yeah, manual isn't a really common way to do quilting, but the reason why we still have that as an option, Jan, a good question, is we still have a lot of quilters who prefer running it the full speed. So this one stitches at 2,100 stitches per minute.
Wow.
So if you do like to go fast, that manual will allow you to run the entire speed of the machine if you can keep up with those stitches being consistent. But 2,100, so you can see here
compared to 17 and 16.
Yeah, so as we go up, it is going faster.
Speed. Yeah.
Okay, the toolbox though, Janna, there's a lot of features with our Elite that come in here. We are talking about edge warning. So you see that this machine also has edge warning, okay, that you can set. So there you go on the edge warning.
And I wanted to say about edge warning, because we talked about like the full amount of the machine and frame, and maybe you're telling yourself from front and back and keeping that. But it's really great too if you've done maybe like a pantograph on one section and then you're just wanting to quilt inside one quilt block. Yes. You can set the edges of that quilt block so that it warns you from going to the edge, so that you're not just overdoing it, and then you have to pick it out.
That's great.
So you don't have to do just the whole length. You can do sections at a time as well.
That's great. So that's in there. We also have bobbin estimator. Bobbin estimator. This is really good. Now it's just estimate, right? Bobbin estimator. It won't tell you when you are out. The machine doesn't stop, but you see the icon down here in the corner, we'll talk about here in a minute. But here, this is where you can put in what you're using or name the bobbin so you won't forget. So this one's Baja, but you can put in there, you would estimate normally on a M-class bobbin anywhere from like 80 to 100 yards, what comes on the bobbin. So you go ahead and put that in there. And then as far as the estimated yards remaining, you can see that right there, 69 out of 70. So this will estimate how far you go down, and I believe is it 20 or 25% of,
I think so, yeah,
of yards remaining that it will go red. So this icon right there that you see will go red when you approach that number.
Which means in the traffic world, you've got to stop, right? Green is go, red is stop. And it's wonderful because then you just have that help when you're getting started to quilt, right? Everything's set, you've got your quilt going. How frustrating is it? You start quilting and then you run out of bobbin.
Yes.
This way it helps tell you, hey, maybe you should check that bobbin first before you get started. Or you're in the middle and you're like, how close am I going to be doing that?
I love this comment from Debbie. She used her friend's 16 Elite and fell in love with it, and I've been wanting one ever since.
Oh, Debbie, it's
well, Debbie,
true.
You're watching this. Order one, because we do have them. We do have them, and you can order them through any of our dealers. Our dealers are running the same special we have now, which is a great special. We haven't got into that. We'll get into that to the end. Yes. But you can go to our website. You can find a local dealer. They also have that same one, and some of our dealers have different packages that go with this price. And so
yeah, sometimes they add in a little something.
you got a little extra something. So yeah, go to our dealer. You can see that right there. Yep. So you can see
dealer locator.
Wherever you're located. We do have wonderful dealers all around, and quite a few of them run specials with different packages. So go check your dealer locator out.
And I've seen a couple people who've said, I don't have a dealer in my area, we really need one. Send me an email. We will contact your favorite quilter location and say, hey, I had a referral for you that we could align. I've heard you have great customer service and quilters love your store. Let's bring our product in, and then we can have a chance to do even more with that. So let me know, janna@graceframe.com, and we can connect with your favorite quilting store in your area if you don't have a local dealer.
Yep. So another question is that warning?
Oh, good question. On the bobbins wound with a machine? No, it's not. It can be, you just say how many yards there are on the spools that you have. So if you have some pre-wounds that you purchased and fit the M class, right? That's always important that they are M class bobbins. Otherwise they won't fit in the bobbin case. But yeah, so you say, oh, these are M class and they've got 55 yards on them. They've got 80 yards. You put that in, and then it will help watch how long that takes.
I love Katie's comment that she's played bobbin chicken before with her machine. So yes, we've all played that, Katie. You're playing chicken. You're like, can I go further? Can I go further?
Just
and
a
you're
little
pushing
more.
the envelope, right? You're going, and all of a sudden you lose because the machine won and you run out. And sometimes, like Katie says, she's won a couple times herself. So yeah, that's going to happen. But the bobbin estimator will hopefully stop that from happening. You'll always win because you won't ever run out. You can change it before that happens. So Debbie, does anyone know how much does the 16 Elite weigh?
Yeah, so we talked about the Little Rebel, but we didn't talk about the 16X or the 16X Elite. The Elite is a little bit heavier than
just a little too.
Just barely, yeah. So this one is 50 pounds?
Well, in the box.
In the box, right,
yes.
right.
Outside the box, it's still in the 20. I want to say mid-20s outside the box. So it is a very light machine. It's no more than 30. You would think we would know, but I believe it is around.
Because we are shipping. We're not always lifting. We're shipping the boxes.
And if you ask me when I'm lifting it, I'm like, oh, this weighs only 10 pounds. And then everybody's like,
and then I'm like, oh, Mark, this is not 10 pounds.
Yeah, I'm like, that is like 10 pounds. So yeah, it is a very, very light machine. But the nice thing is once this machine's on your frame, as we talked about maintenance, you don't have to take this in to get maintained. So you're not needing to move it on and off your frame. So once it's on your frame, and if you keep it up, that machine can stay on there as long as you want it to. But it is a lighter machine, so you don't have to worry about how heavy this is. These two machines are considerably light.
So the maintenance on the 16X Elite is just like the 16X, right? This front comes forward. It's the same way. It pops up forward so you can reach that needle bar, paint on that oil, turn the knob so it goes through. Now, some people are saying, like, paintbrush. Why are you using a paintbrush for that oil? Isn't it a drop? And so the thing is we don't want excess oil. And a lot of times people will be like, I think I need more than less, right? It's like, oh, I want to keep it maintained really oiled.
Just soaking it.
And then pretty soon it comes dripping down. So that's why we say use a paintbrush, a brush to put it on there, because you're just needing enough to keep it lubricated, not soaking the needle plate or bobbin hook assembly when you're putting those in.
Yeah. All right, so with the 16X Elite, pretty similar to the 16X. Really, you got the larger screen that comes with these wonderful features from Bobbin Estimator. It also has a project keeper, so you can keep your projects.
Ooh, yeah.
It does come with a calculator and measuring tool. So you have these nice features that you get within the 16X with the 16X Elite. You also have these other features, jog backward and jog forward. I love these two, especially if you're vertically challenged. You want to be able to move that needle bar down if you are on specific quilting and you have to move your needle away from where you left off. If you do have to change out your bobbin or something up, if you moved it, that needle jog backwards and forward will move that needle, just like it says, it would jog it. So that needle would jog down and up. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have videos talking about a lot of these features already we've done with these videos. So you can go back and watch some of that. But those, the jog backwards and forwards will really help your ability to line your needle back up where you left off at. Then also has needle down and a single stitch. So the needle down allows you to have the needle stop in the down position or up position. A lot of quilters like one or the other. You can make that happen with these machines. And the single stitch is just a single stitch where the needle will go down and come back up.
Which
and
is
that's
great
really good for pulling the bobbin.
Yeah, I was going to say pulling the bobbin
Yep.
at the beginning and the end. I was reading on Facebook recently where someone said, it's so easy to pull the bobbin at the beginning, but it's hard to do it at the end. And so people were giving tips about that, to how she can do that. As a reminder, the 16X Elite also works on all our current frames, right? X, not the mini, all the frames. So the mini quilter is kind of like this,
only the Little Rebel and
only
down.
the Little Rebel and domestics, right? So the Cutie, the Q-Zone hoop, the Queen, the Evolution hoop, and the Evolution Elite. Oh, I'm talking too fast for the pictures on the screen. Q-Zone hoop, and then the Q-Zone Queen, and then the Evolution hoop. There we go.
Yep.
And the Evolution Elite. Again, they can all be automated. So this is your chance. Right now, we have amazing specials on our site, and like Mark said, on all our dealers who sell Qunique products. We are doing $150 off the machine and frame combo if you're buying a Cutie, a Q-Zone hoop, or a Q-Zone Queen. So think about that, what fits in your area, right? Because the two things to think about is what's my budget and what's my space? Because you can have a huge budget and live in a studio apartment. That's going to be a very interesting quilting area.
Yep.
Or you can have a huge amount of space and no budget. And so then you got to think of those two things together, right? So $150 off, you're buying the Cutie, Q-Zone hoop, and Q-Zone Queen. And then $200 off if you're getting the Evolution hoop and the Evolution Elite frames. Again, the 16Xs will fit on all of those. Technically, the Little Rebel will too, but you might lose some of that with those larger rolling rails. So you want to stick to the hoops more for, oh yeah, thanks, Brenda. Yeah, such great deals.
But Janna mentioned earlier, really all of our partners that we do business with, they have all these products, and they it's good to support your local dealer. If you've been buying product through certain dealers throughout the years, you can go to them. If you buy it online, you can go to them as well. So please visit our dealer locator and check out all of our partners that we do business with, because they do carry these and they offer the same deal. And as we mentioned earlier, some of our partners provide a little extra gifts that come with these products, which is really nice. But now's the time to buy. You may ask, we were looking at what would we do on our first event? This is our first really live event that we've done in 2025. And the reason why we chose these three machines is they've been our very popular machines in 2025. The Little Rebel being a great starter quilter, right? Mm-hmm. And then from a step up from that, we have our 16X and our 16X Elite. And all of these have budgets starting under $3,000 with Little Rebel, all the way up to
just
about
over 5,000.
Yeah, on the Elite. And with this deal of $150 and $200 off, now it's time to buy. Mother's Day is around the corner. So if you've been I saw a lot of comments, like I've been dreaming about this, or I've been wanting this. If you've been looking in your quilt room, if you've been thinking about upgrading and get a larger machine, you're going to quilt no matter what. You're quilting either with a domestic. Let's upgrade you to at least a Little Rebel, right? Little Rebel is a great step up from what you're using. If you already have a 15, stitch regulation. If you have a 15 or any of our older machines, or if you're just thinking, you know what? I saw a lot of comments with, if you're doing a larger pattern, someone said they had a 15 and they wish they would have went bigger. So if you wanted to start bigger, the 16 machines will do just that for you. So these three machines fit anywhere with a lot of budgets, space. And we did this around Mother's Day, as it's going to help you as a mom, or just because you don't need to have a reason to get this. But really, if you've been thinking about upgrading or getting a long arm with the Little Rebel or the 16 series, please reach out to our partners. They do a wonderful job supporting their customers. We support them. You could also go to our website and you can check it out on our website as well.
Now, we said at the very beginning, we are doing a giveaway for a free motion starter kit. This, again, is an item that you can use whether you're on a domestic machine or you're on a Qunique or a Little Rebel. It comes with patterns and tracing booklets and everything you need to get started. We did a giveaway at the show I was at recently, and I was so happy. The person who won this, she just started quilting. She was there with her mom and her aunt. She was just getting into it, and she was like, oh, this will be so great for me to get started. We were so happy that she won that prize. So yeah, the free motion starter kit, you can see it there. All those pieces that come with it. It's on sale at $79.95. If you don't win, we have one lucky winner. So if you don't get a chance to win it, this is a great way to help your new quilters or for yourself to get started in free motion quilting and just practice and learning all about it. So we've got one winner we've got coming up here. Now, these are people who have pre-registered for the event. So we're going to have more of these sales events coming forward. Register for them. That's how you get to be in the drawing for the prizes. So let's have our drum roll, and we're going to have our person announced. Paula Becker. Whoa.
Congratulations, Paula.
Congratulations. Yes. We have your information because that's when we do that pre-registration. We collect your information so we can send it to you. Ali Allegra will be sending out an email asking, is this the best way to ship and everything like that. So watch for the email from her, but congratulations. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, thank you for your questions, for participating with the questions. I love all the comments. The one last comment I wanted to throw up there was someone had a 16 and loves it. It was Kathy. She loves her 16 Elite. Just another happy, satisfied customer with the Grace product. So she loves her 16X Elite. It's just fantastic, and I love seeing the comments. That's why we do this. We love to interact with you, and to participate this way has been fantastic with our customers.
And if you want to learn more about our products, you can call us or our qualified dealers who know about our products as well. But let us know. Let us know if you have any product that you're like, oh, you know what, I want Mark and Janna to talk about this item, and tell us about it so that we can have more discussion and we can have questions and answers on that. But thank you everybody for joining us today. We'll see you next month. Watch our emails for when we're going to be having that, but we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll see you.